As we have learned earlier, to calculate present value of future cash flows, we need a discount rate R, and for DCF valuation, the cost of capital is used as the discount rate. A company with higher cost of capital would have a higher discount factor, resulting in lower valuation, just as we had learned earlier. The reason cost of capital is used as discount factor is because the return on the operation should be higher than the cost of capital, because else one is better off using this capital somewhere else, say deposit in a bank to earn interest, instead of investing it in the business. In that sense, the cost of capital is also referred to as the hurdle rate or the opportunity cost that a project must earn for it to be worthy of the investment. Cost of debt. Previously, when we discussed cost of capital, we took the example of business borrowing entire capital money from bank in the form of a loan or debt, in which case it is easier to understand the cost of capital, which is simply the interest rate one has to pay on that debt. So here the interest rate is the cost of debt, which is also the cost of capital, since the entire capital is in the form of a debt. Cost of equity. But what if the business borrowed some money from the bank and some money was invested by the owner himself or herself in return of the ownership of the company? The money that was borrowed from the bank is referred to as debt, and the money that is invested in the business by the owners, also called promoters and investors, in return for the ownership, that is shares of the company, is referred to as equity. For debt part of the capital, we know there is some cost associated in the form of interest rate. But what about the equity part? Is there any cost associated with it, since we do not have to pay any interest on it to the owner or to the investors? You may be surprised, but yes, there is. While it is true that there is no direct cost associated, but there is an opportunity cost associated with this investment. What it means is that had the owner or the investor invested the same money somewhere else, say in a fixed deposit with a bank, they would have gotten certain return, say 6%, and they are foregoing that opportunity by investing in this business. And it would make sense for them to invest in this business only if they believe this business would earn them more returns than a simple fixed deposit. Now, other than opportunity cost, there is one more factor which influences cost of equity. It is the riskiness of the business in which the money is being invested. For a riskier business, you would expect higher return, and hence it would have a higher cost of equity or cost of capital. For example, let's say you have 1,000 rupees to invest. You can deposit it in the bank and earn a guaranteed return 6%, which let's say is the zero risk opportunity cost. Now you can invest the same money in a traditional business, say Hero MotoCorp, where you are more confident that business would do well and you would not lose money. The other possibility is that you invest the same money in an internet business, where you know it is a new age business and hence riskier. There is a chance you may lose all your money. If both the businesses promise you 10% return, which is more than 6%, your risk-free opportunity cost, which one would you invest in? Naturally, in traditional business, because you know it is safer. You would invest in internet business only if you believe it would offer you much higher return, say 20%. It is the same money, rupees 1,000, same risk-free opportunity cost 6%, but the cost of equity for both the businesses is different because the risk profile of both the businesses are different. So the cost of equity depends on the zero's risk opportunity cost, also referred to as risk-free return, as well as the riskiness of the business. If we were to represent this mathematically, there are three components to cost of equity. First is risk-free rate of return. Instead of investing in this business, had the investor invested the money into fixed deposit or government bond where there is virtually no risk of losing, there would have been certain return to investor would have got which he or she is foregoing by investing in this business. This rate of return is referred to as risk-free rate of return. Usually the yield of a 10-year government bond is taken as a proxy for the risk-free rate. Market-wide risk premium. Instead of investing in this particular company, had the investor invested in a portfolio consisting of all the companies in the market, there would be a certain average return that he or she would expect for taking an average risk. Difference between this average return and the risk-free rate of return is referred to as market-wide risk premium, and it can be calculated as stock market return less risk-free rate. And finally, beta, a risk-adjusted factor that reflects each company's riskiness relative to the average company or the average market. If a company is riskier than the average market, value of beta would be higher than 1, and hence this company's cost of equity would be higher than that of the average market. For example, imagine the risk-free rate of return to be 6%. Imagine the average stock market return is 16%. And then say beta is of the company being evaluated as 1.5. Then cost of equity for this company would be 6% plus 1.5 multiplied by 16% minus 6%. If you solve this, you will get 21%, which is higher than the average stock market return of 16%. Beta can be calculated by regressing share price movement of the company to the broad market index. If these terms look frightening, don't worry. What it simply means that you look at the historical share price of the company and see how that has changed and compare that with the change in overall market index and arrive at its beta. We will calculate beta for Hero MotoCorp when we calculate the cost of equity for Hero MotoCorp. This will become clear to you then. Accordingly, the formula for cost of equity is equal to risk-free rate plus beta multiplied by market return minus risk-free rate. Recession and euphoria in the market can lead to market risk premium being calculated as aggressive or conservative. So based on the research by Goldman Sachs and McKinsey, market risk premium is usually between 4.5 to 5.5 on an average for a long period of time. You can assume a 5% MRP for the calculations. Weighted average cost of capital. Now for a business which has both debt and equity in its capital structure, we simply take the average of cost of debt and cost of equity, weighted by their respective share in total capital, to arrive at weighted average cost of capital, or WACC, which is defined as WACC is equal to debt divided by total capital multiplied by cost of debt, 1 minus marginal tax, plus equity divided by total capital, that is debt plus equity multiplied by cost of equity. D stands for debt, E stands for equity. D plus E will be total capital. KD and KE represents cost of debt and cost of equity respectively. TM stands for marginal tax. Let's look into why do we need marginal tax in case of debt and not in case of equity. This is also called tax shield for cost of debt. You will notice that how the cost of debt has been reduced by the factor of 1 minus marginal tax rate. This is because the interest we pay for debt is an expense which gets deducted before taxes are paid. And this results in a business having to pay lesser tax, which saves money for the business. Due to this, the real cost of debt for a business is less than what it actually pays to the lender. and this factor 1 minus TM reflects that. For example, if you took rupees 1000 loan on which you have to pay 10% interest, that is rupees 100. Now say your EBIT is 300 and tax rate is 30%, which means you have to pay rupees 90, that is 300 multiplied by 30% as taxes. But since rupees 100 is the interest cost or interest expense, that first needs to be deducted from EBIT. So your profit before tax would become 300 minus 100, that is rupees 200. And your tax expense would be 60, that is 200 multiplied by 30%. That means you had to pay rupees 30 less than what you would have to pay had your entire capital was financed by equity. So real cost of debt is not rupees 100 but rupees 70, that is 100 minus 30, that is tax saved. Hence your effective cost of capital is 10% multiplied by 1 minus 30%, the TM, the marginal tax rate, which is 7%. That is rupees 70 as we saw in this example. Cost of equity and weighted average cost of capital are extremely important concepts, and make sure you understand those thoroughly before you proceed further. If need be, go over the videos couple of more times. We would demonstrate how WACC is calculated for Hero MotoCorp when we do its valuation later in this module.